Alldus podcast is brought to you by Alldus International, supplying your expert AI and digital transformation staffing needs across the US and Europe. Today, you are listening to our AI in Action series, where leading minds in AI from across the world share their story, success, and advice. AI in Action cuts through the hype and explores the true impact of artificial intelligence in our world today.
You're listening to the Alldus podcast, AI in Action. I'm your host, JP Valentine. Our guest today is Kyle Ryan. Kyle is the Principal Engineer and Senior Engineering Manager at Dune Security. Kyle, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
And we're delighted to have you. Kyle, lots to cover, but let's start with yourself, please. Could you give us a brief summary of your background in technology and AI, from where you got started and your journey to where you got to today with Dune Security?
So I started my career as a data scientist at Marist University, and their just niche little IT department working on what was then just a regular chatbot using a transformer, which eventually, funny enough, ended up being what ChatGPT was built on. So it was very, very interesting that my first experience was in the technology that even I'm using now, a decade down the line at Dune Security. But between then and now, I've worked at a variety of different telecommunications companies in AI and ML engineering positions, went to grad school at Fordham University, worked in a variety of labs focusing on natural language processing, robotics, etc. And then bring me to more recent history. I've been at Dune Security for the past 2.5, almost 3 years. I started there as a founding engineer, and now we've grown the team to be more than 5-10 times the size of when I initially joined.
Talk to us about Dune Security, who you are, what you do, mission of the business.
Everyone receives the phishing emails to their inbox, whether it's your personal email, maybe you get smishing text. I'm sure you've before gotten the spam calls, even maybe there sounds a little robot-y, others are more, could be the voice of somebody maybe that you recognize. So what Dune Security does is we simulate these same social engineering attacks on our client organizations. And these threats have gotten significantly more sophisticated over the years, whereas back maybe 5-10 years ago, you would get some generic one. Maybe it's impersonating like a free Starbucks gift card from your HR department, or it's somebody's uncle looking for some cash and he'll reward you handsomely if you decide to help out. But now what we see is that phishing emails have gotten significantly more sophisticated. They're slipping past email security tools, and they're being tailored exactly to your unique profile. So anyone can find what I do on LinkedIn. They could see that I'm an engineer. And then what hackers are doing now is at scale using generative AI, they're creating these perfectly tailored spear phishing emails. So for myself, I'm in a more R&D oriented role at Dune. I still I'm an adjunct professor at Fordham University. So maybe they send me a spear phishing email catered to both, and they just say, hey, here's some up and coming research. It's click this link to access it via SharePoint. And then maybe they even go into a bit of what a public information I have on articles I've written, papers online, etc. And then using that, they'll deliver a perfectly tailored phishing email to my inbox. So what Dune Security does with this new rising threat is we'll replicate that, we'll offer a full reporting dashboard for it, and then we also will create security awareness training videos and supply them to the user specific to the items that they failed on, whether it's a spear phishing email, a voice call impersonating a colleague, etc.
I want to spend some time now talking about your role, particularly the evolution of your role. You mentioned founding in your introduction. For a period of time, you were head of AI, and now you're senior engineering manager while still being an engineer yourself. Help us visualize what your role is day to day, the team that you're working with, and the aspects of AI that you and your team are utilizing to help ensure Dune is offering the most advanced layers of protection in keeping up with the evolving threat as you've described already?
I know everyone from a startup will always use this line, but the term wear many hats certainly has applied to my time at Dune since I started. Anything from the just standard back-end work to DevOps, infrastructure, even our own security over time. Like it's just, you, as an engineer at an early stage startup, you got to touch a little bit of everything from the technical side. And so over my time, which has evolved and shifting based on our needs. More recently, though, we've been able to settle in on some more interesting and advanced R&D efforts. Maybe 5 years ago, to be able to, or even less than that, 2 to 3 years ago, just with the pace of how much the innovations in AI are changing day to day, it would have been difficult to be able to mass generate AI spear phishing emails, to be able to make a phishing voice call, have a conversational agent, try to socially engineer information out of someone. A few years ago, complete fantasy and sci-fi. Now, however, we're able to do that at scale, able to make dozens of calls a day, send out hundreds, if not even close to the thousands, as much as our mail server is willing to take, of generative AI emails to our clients. And that unlock in productivity has been a mix of the complexity of the models changing over time to be even more powerful in the ways that they're able to generate authentic text based off of prompts, have intricate conversations, and then even just all the way down to the inference layer, just running on the lowest level of the hardware that we have, being able to generate a response that's accurate at lightning speed, and then be able to generate a voice that sounds and has the same pauses, intonations, etc., that a real individual would have and have it on the phone. Whereas if it was just like robot-y sounding, maybe someone wouldn't fall for that. So the threat of social engineering has greatly ramped up. Reviewing threat intelligence sources that we have, things have gotten scarily accurate. Like you were just saying, with even the attacks that you see in your office, ranging from the trivial to the extremely advanced. We've seen large scale ups from our adversaries, and we're right there neck and neck with what they're doing on the day to day.
Because it's a multi-billion-dollar industry on the hacker side, given the volume of ransoms that you can hear about at large-scale corporate entities. So they have a significant incentive to be on the bleeding edge of technology, and you guys are countering that, staying on the bleeding edge. Can you give us some examples? You might not be able to name the exact company, but some organizations who are benefiting from Dune, and maybe some case studies or success stories of Dune successfully coming in and preventing these types of attacks.
So I won't name names today, but what I will say is some of our larger clients that are in the Fortune 500, they struggle with being able to deliver that authentic threat experience at scale with legacy providers. And they don't have any means to send out any phishing calls, AI spear phishing, emails, and then we have some other more niche red teaming engagements that we offer as well at Dune. Being just able to know who in your org is creating the vast majority of risk, and based on people that through our assessments we're able to determine would be compromised or not, how much of a threat landscape that opens, whether it's for lateral movement. If we compromise 2 people in the finance department, was it someone who can initiate a payment and then someone who can authorize a payment if they're both separated from 2 individuals? If we were able to phish both of these users for their MFA, and we have access to both their accounts, then a realistic threat, an adversary could initiate a payment with one set of credentials they have, and then the other, they approve it, and then a large amount of money gets stolen from the company. Or if it's even just as something like exfiltrating data, where it's one employee in the sales part of the business, they have access to Salesforce, and this is a real threat we're seeing in the wild, where they Adversaries will use generative AI to build a fake Salesforce portal, send it a link to it in a phishing email, also perfectly designed to how Salesforce looks. The user clicks it, enters their email, password, MFA, they're phished for it. The data exposure of all this client data are really sensitive, and we've seen lawsuits north of $10 million, $100 million, et cetera, as a result of just client information being leaked as a result of one employee making a few bad clicks. So where Dune Security really has the impact is being able to give that authentic threat experience and full observability on our dashboard to know who in your org is causing risks, what data they have access to, or what permissions they have access to as well, and the threat that poses to your organization.
You are listening to the Alldus podcast. When you're looking to scale your team, or if you are interested in showcasing your company in a future episode, reach out today. Or if you're in the market for a new role, visit our website to view open positions, www.alldus.com.
So it's interesting times in this space for sure, given the leaps forward in sophistication on the adversarial side, and therefore the need for services like Dune to meet that demand, keep up with those advancements. Cole, when you look at the near-term roadmap, particularly the next 1 to 2 years, it's really difficult to forecast anything beyond 1 year at the rate of innovation we're seeing within AI. But even just the next 12 to 18 months, what are you excited about for the evolution and growth of Dune? And the flip side of that coin is, where do you see the biggest challenges evolving in this space?
Things that we look forward to the most on that's often the short-term horizon, because I 100% agree with you that innovation is the pace in the past couple of years. It's every few months, it just keeps accelerating. I think it would just be how much personalized all these threats will get, and how interconnected the different mediums in which a threat can be delivered are going to be interconnected. And I think what maybe will illustrate that a bit better is with an example. So the vast majority of people around the world, maybe with the exception of in the US, we still are all texting and using iMessage, but the vast majority uses WhatsApp. And adversaries are making contact over WhatsApp or another encrypted messaging app, they could have an agent conversing with you fully automated through WhatsApp, chatting, trying to get you to, they're reaching out to you on a personal device, they're trying to get you to exfiltrate data, something that a company would have no observability in. And then even if the user was unsure and wanted to initiate a phone call, then the user could dial up the number that's been messaging them on WhatsApp, that's the adversary, it picks up, and then a conversational AI agent is talking on the other side. And this isn't something that's complete fantasy. It's something we've seen before. It's something that is on our short-term R&D roadmap that we're developing to be able to give that additional lens of observability. But in the near term, that's a threat that we've seen targeting very niche industries, and the amount of computational power that goes into supporting that specific threat is something that we're following really closely at Dune. We're replicating in a R&D limited experience sense currently. And I guess as time goes on, we're just going to keep seeing what hackers are doing, following their methods closely, and then where we have the opportunity, even if their operations are manual, if it's a nation state that just has unlimited resources and people that they're pouring into a specific attack on a specific industry, at Dune Security, we're going to find ways to use AI to automate that. For the limited staff, like engineering and security front that we do have, we'll use AI to supercharge ourselves, give that wider scale threat experience to our clients, so then they feel prepared going into 2025, 2026, and so on, that they can handle these threats if their organization were to ever come under attack.
Final question from me, Kyle, and it's two parts. You explained in your introduction the growth of Dune Security since you've been there in 5x or more in headcount. When you look at the road ahead, speaking to an audience of potential future employees, two questions for you. One, for individuals who are unsure around where future career opportunities will lie with the advancements, continuous advancements within AI, and then tying that into Dune, what advice would you offer to people in the AI space listening to this who are thinking about future roles they could have? And part two, speaking to potential future Dune security employees, what is it about Dune that has attracted so many talented people to choose you guys over some of the other great companies out there also trying to hire top talent?
I would say that for any candidate who is a current AI engineer on the job market looking to make their next move, I would say just stay as close to academic literature and just follow blogs of professionals on the daily. Honestly, there's innovations that we've said this a couple of times now, that the innovations are daily. Keeping your ear to the ground and being able to know what the latest technology is in the academic literature, there will come a time where that starts to get integrated or experimented in with products. And R&D cycles, which used to be much longer, specifically in AI development, are shortening and shortening. And there's a few long horizon research tasks at all the big AI labs, certainly. But if you're a practitioner in an industry, like for example, I'm in cybersecurity with Dune Security, it's being able to quickly turn around the things that get published in papers related to LLMs, reasoning, et cetera, and being able to find an application of that in your industry. If you'll find no shortage of work, difficult problems, and you'll find extremely fulfilling work yourself, just being able to take what's always on the bleeding edge and find a way to apply it to your industry. Doesn't have to be cybersecurity, of course. You could be in finance, HR, some for marketing as well, and just figuring out how you apply these bleeding edge technologies to the most difficult problems or the processes that have the highest potential to be automated, I think is how an AI engineer, ML engineer, et cetera, how you put yourself ahead in 2025. And one thing I mentioned earlier on difficult problems, segueing into the second half of your question, I think how we've been able to attract such incredible talent to Dune Security is having no shortage of difficult problems. We're looking at what adversaries are doing in the wild, whether they automate it themselves or not. And we're trying to find the way to give the most authentic threat experience, sort of a white hat advanced persistent threat to our clients. And solving that, or attempting to, I guess, give that experience at scale, is something that has to have the best and brightest minds all honing in on how we can replicate, how we can scale it, and how to do that for X, Y, and Z users over, sometimes it's even a short turnaround. A client could have a very specific attack that their organization is experiencing. Maybe it's a multi-part attack where there's voice call, so phishing, and then also phishing over the email being delivered to their users, and they want to roll out a campaign and just flood the zone so that people will see that these are coming in. They'll get a little bit nervous about why they're getting a couple of texts, calls, emails, etc., and then disengage or report just because they aren't sure what's real and what isn't. But being able to do that on a quick time frame, quick turnaround, and being able to scale up the mail servers to send out hundreds of emails to hundreds of thousands of emails, same with voice calls, etc., in a short time period. Always really fun problems. Any candidate looking at Dune Security, if you like really difficult problems and you have an interest in cybersecurity, we'll have no shortage of them here.
Kyle, thank you so much for coming on today and talking to us. Really appreciate you sharing your own journey a great insight into the amazing work you're doing at Dune Security, and really just educating us on the advancements in the real and sophisticated threat. And thankfully, services like Dune Security are out there to help us stay current and up to date. So we wish you, the team, and everyone at Dune Security the very best of luck in the months and year ahead, and look forward to having you back on the show again in the near future.
Yeah, and thank you so much for the opportunity. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you today.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Alldus podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and any Android podcast of choice. You can also head over to our website, www.alldus.com, to listen to more podcasts, view our open roles, and stay up to date with industry news. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more great episodes coming very soon.